Hello Markham Gardens family, Daniel Markham here with Markham Gardens. Today guys, we're going to be planting a hibiscus. We ended up purchasing a hardy hibiscus and I am finding a location to put this thing. So let me show you kind of our idea of where we're going to place it. I'm going to walk through the process with you guys, show you guys the hardy hibiscus. It is actually in bloom right now, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. And we might do a couple other things today, but hang in there tight and let's see what's going to happen. So follow me. So I'm walking through the garden here and I'm basically looking for a place that has an opening that is going to get full sun but is going to get some shade in the evening time. And you can see that we are experiencing right now morning sun. So the sun starts, it's right here, but it actually starts down here. And then by the evening time, about midday, goes through these trees, and then in the evening time we start seeing just a little bit of it right before it goes down behind the house. And so that is going to give just enough sun in the morning time, and then also a little bit in the evening, not too much, to give it just enough sunlight so that we can get some decent blooms and some decent growth off of it. So let's go ahead and head over here and we'll see if we can find a location. Now I kind of want to put in this front bed because once I show you guys these flowers, say hi to Tucker, everybody. Tucker. Tucker says hi, everybody. Once we end up putting it up here in the front, and this thing, once you see the blooms, you're going to know why I want to put it right up here next to the front door area where we're going to get to see this thing every single day. And right now we've got some dogwoods. So we've got a red dogwood there. We've got a Cornus Kousa, an edible dogwood right there. We've got a a Confederate rose right here. And so then over here, we've got our hydrangea bush growing. We've got a red bud. We've got another Cornus Kousa dogwood. So we're going to have blooms basically covering this whole wall here. And so what I want to do is I want to fill in this area and I want to start putting stuff in the front. And you guys can see we had put some flowers. Miss Markham wanted some zinnias. And so we planted a whole bunch of zinnias in this front area, which has been nice because you can see the butterflies are all over them and stuff too. But so I think where I'm going to put this though, I've got the hydrangea right in front of those, and I think I'm going to come over here just a little bit, and this is an open area right here. I have nothing growing. So I think we're going to go ahead and put it right there between these other two, and I think that'll be a great location where it'll get great decent sun in the morning, and then about like right now when we're hitting noon, it's going to get a little bit of a break and get some sun dappled through the trees, and then it'll get hit in the evening just for a little while, but it'll get a break in the dead evening when it's the hottest, as the sun goes down behind the house and the trees in the backyard. So let's go ahead and prepare that spot for it. Now I'm walking around here to get some of my supplies like my shovels and stuff, and I noticed our petunia or ruellia is blooming like crazy, and these are so pretty. They're just like almost like tissue paper, very, very fine, and by the time the heat hits them, the sun hits them, they start falling off. They're just so delicate, but such a beautiful look to these flowers. But anyway, a little sidestep to what we were doing, but I thought you might enjoy seeing that. Such beautiful flowers. This is the white variety, and then we also have two of the purple variety, but it doesn't look like we've got any flowers on those right now. So anyway, back to what we were doing. For those of you that have seen our previous videos on the tomatoes, you guys saw me trellis them, and you can see, guys, we're definitely into the summer, and where most people aren't producing tomatoes, we are still getting tomatoes. You can see some ripening there. We've got some on, that are ripening. We've got some green ones right there. We are still producing tomatoes, guys, and I'm telling you that mulch is key, guys. Mulch is #1 key for keeping your tomatoes going throughout the summer. You can see, look at all these tomatoes that we've got going. Usually by now, guys, we're clearing 90, 95 yesterday. And heat index is a lot hotter than that, and we're still getting tomatoes. So mulch, guys. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to clear a little bit of area, guys. I'm not going to plant into the top of this mulch right here, so we need to go ahead and clear some of this mulch out of the way and get down to the good soil. And you know what? I hate that you guys are so far back on this. I really want to show you guys what this soil is starting to look like down here. As I'm beginning to pull this mulch back, guys, it was all wood chips, and I've shown you this before, but it just surprises me so much when I start digging into it. But look at this. Look at that soil. Incredible. Anyway, I'll set you guys back up. I just wanted to give you a close-up of what it looks like when you put wood chips and it starts to break down. And I'll tell you, this is very fungal dominated, which is great for your plants, but I can smell the mushrooms in this. So incredible. So we want to go ahead and we want to pull a bunch of this top mulch back. Now you can see I'm not going to have to pull back too far because we've got beautiful black soil in here now. When I first started, I had to pull back all of the wood chips. You guys will have seen in some of the previous videos, but I've used to pull back all the wood chips and get all the way down to the main sand, and then I'd have to replace, you know, some of the sand that I put back in the hole with really good soil, because we didn't have all of this nice black soil. But now that we've got all this nice black soil, it kind of changes things a little bit. So let's go ahead and dig our hole, and you guys have seen this method before. I basically set the shovel down and I just wiggle it back and forth and it digs for itself. But this soil is so soft now from having these covered in wood chips all the time, and the soil is so alive and it's aerated now well because of all of this wood chips that has built up this beautiful soil underneath, that it's really easy to dig here now. So let me get you guys up here and show you what we've done. So basically I've dug out the hole, and this hole, from the level that it's going to be at, which is going to be about right here, this is going to be the top of the hole right here where my hand is, to the bottom of that hole is about twice the depth of the pot that hibiscus is in. And I know we've talked about this in previous videos, but this hole is also 2 times the width of that pot. So I've basically gotten, the way to figure that out is where the stem comes out of the pot in the center, you want to take the distance from that stem to the edge of the pot, and you want to double that to the side. So you're going to add an extra bit, and that way you've got twice the width of that pot when you plant it in. So twice the depth, twice the width, and this hole is ready to go, guys. Now usually, you know, if you've got really cruddy soil and you don't have a lot of fertility, like we've got here with all these broken down wood chips and stuff, then you're going to want to take a good gardening soil, and you're going to want to backfill the bottom of this and mix that in just a little bit to give your plants some nutrition. But we've been composting these wood chips for long enough that you know, this soil is beautiful and it's ready to go. I can literally just put the plants right back into the soil and they will do well. So let me take you back there and I'll show you guys the plant that we're putting in. So as we're walking around here, guys, I figured I'd just show you some of the stuff that's growing. We've got the Turk's Cap. Some of you guys saw that short. Turk's Cap is back. I thought I lost that plant this last winter. And you can see this thing is huge. It's about 5.5 foot tall right now. And just blooms all over it. Let me get up here so you guys can actually see some of the blooms on it. Beautiful Turk's Cap, and just blooms all over this thing. And one of the cool parts about this flower is these are edible, guys. You can pop these off of here, and this whole flower right here is edible. So you just want to check it, make sure there's no crazy looking bugs on it or anything, but totally edible flower. And they are delicious, guys. They're kind of like have a sweet flavor to them. So almost like when you pull honeysuckle and they've got a little bit of that nectar that's in the bottom of them. There's a little bit of that on these too. And they've got a great texture. A lot of your hibiscus are super gelatinous, and there is a little bit of that, but it's really not bad. But one of the cool things about this plant is once it's done with the flowers actually turn into little fruits that look like little apples, and they actually taste a lot like an apple with kind of a big seed in them, but those are delicious as well. So anyway, Turk's Cap, I definitely recommend it. It seems to handle our heat really well and a little bit of drought as well. So, but yeah, beautiful plant, doing really, really well. And guys, the sweet shrubs, I cannot wait for the sweet shrubs to get up tall enough to where they start blooming. And if you've never seen a sweet shrub flower, guys, I'll put that right up here just so you guys can see it. But super fragrant. They will fill this entire area with fragrance. Looks like I have a wild grape coming up in the middle. I'm gonna have to get that out of there. I'll have to transplant that somewhere because it'd be kind of interesting to see what comes of that one. But and then over here I've got another sweet shrub, and this one's doing really well. I mean, I cannot say enough for the mulch, guys. The mulch is just beautiful growth on them. They're doing really well. I've even got some wild redbud trees coming up here in the middle, but right around the corner here is another sweet shrub. And so we're gonna be surrounded by sweet shrubs surrounding this magnolia. And this flower's kind of going now, but this thing is still blooming in the dead of summer. This Jane magnolia is still putting off blooms and stuff, and you can see the little baby ones trying to pop out still. Kind of amazing. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys an update too of these red casters, and the casters have grown up to the point where now they are starting to flower, guys. And check that out. Isn't that beautiful? Starting to pop flowers on them, so hopefully we'll get some seeds. So I don't know if you guys remember the videos of me rooting up the little crepe myrtles in the tray. And I've had a lot of people watch it. It's one of the higher viewed videos that I've got, how to grow crepe myrtles from cuttings. But guys, this is one of those crepe myrtles from those cuttings. And you can see here, this was that purplish pink variety that I had on there. And here it is already starting to bloom, and it's only been like 1.5 years since I took those cuttings, guys. They grow super fast here, but you can see here's another one just blooming like crazy out of them. So wanted to show you guys an update of that too. Here's the pepper deck, guys. You can see our peppers are going crazy. We've got peppers all over, Tabasco. In fact, I'm super excited because last time I showed you guys the Carolina Reaper, and if you look here now, we've actually got a little Carolina Reaper growing on this plant, and it has just now started to grow peppers on it. So looking forward to those big time. But we've definitely got quite a few peppers on these. Looks like we may need to water some. I've got this hybrid Thai pepper producing these long, beautiful peppers on them, but it looks like it may need a little bit of water today. So, but a few other of our We've got our Royal Empress tree that I grew from cutting. This was a cutting that just stuck it in a pot and started growing it, and now it's doing amazing. But let me show you guys what we're planting today, guys. This right here. So this is our summer spice hibiscus. And this thing decided to bloom this morning. I was gonna plant it before it bloomed, but it decided to go ahead and bloom this morning. And look at this, guys. Isn't that beautiful? Just a beautiful, beautiful plant. But it's got this purple hue to the leaves, and then this deep red color. You guys can see how big these blooms are. But this is a hardy hibiscus, and so this is what we're planting over there today. These are the blooms that I wanted to be able to see right in front of the door at all times. So let's go ahead and grab this. We'll get this to the front and see if we can get this planted. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this thing in the ground. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze the bottom of the pot just a little bit, just so we're separating it from the sides, so it's not so hard to get out. Now this one is fully rooted. So what that means is that there are roots all the way to the bottom of this pot. And so it is going to come out in one giant chunk. It's not gonna basically, when I pull it out, there's not gonna be a whole bunch of soil that falls off of it because it is fully rooted. So I can go ahead and grab these limbs on the top, and I could pull them out, but I'm not going to do that because that could stress the plant out. So you'll also notice that I've got a whole bunch of water dripping from the bottom of this pot. And basically I had this sat in a tray of water all night the night before. And that's probably why it went ahead and bloomed. But that way it's got plenty of moisture when we put it in the ground. It's not stressing out, none of that. So let me go ahead, and what I'm going to do is, let me back up here. I'm going to go ahead and tip this over just a little bit. I'm going to let all the top stuff fall back into that hole, but I'm going to push on the end just a little bit and then pull this off. And let me show you guys here real quick. Let me get up here so you can see. You can see that root structure, what I meant. It is rooted all the way into the bottom. Now, it's not root bound. I mean, there's a little bit of chunkiness in the roots right here. But it is not root bound all the way around, but it's got a beautiful root structure on it. Now we're going to take this and pop this right back into this hole. So I want to set this down in there. I actually need some more soil in the bottom. We don't want it planted too deep. That'll work right there. So let's go ahead and position these. I want to be able to see these flowers from the front porch. Even though it eventually will flower all over, but I want to see these flowers this time on it as it's blooming. So now we're just going to take this soil, guys, and we're going to fill back in around it. We're going to pack in just a little bit, not too firmly, but pack in just a little bit so we don't have air pockets down in the bottom. And like I said, guys, if you had really crappy soil, you'd want to be filling in right now with some really good bag soil. You wouldn't want to just be taking the soil that you pulled out of the hole and put it right back in again, because that soil's not fertile. It doesn't have a lot of life in it, so it's not going to support that plant as well. But like I said, we've been mulching this area with wood chips, and so these wood chips have made this area extremely fertile. And so the soil is really, really good. It will feed this plant. And so I can just take this soil and push it right back over on top of this plant, and it will do fine. All right, guys, so I have gone ahead. We've got it in the ground, and I've spread out the soil around it just a little bit so we don't have a mound up all the way around it, but we'll just spread that out. But isn't that a beautiful plant? Now, if you do this correctly and you put it in the ground without a whole lot of stress like I just did, these flowers will stay blooming. They'll stay open as long as they need to. and then they'll close. The plant won't wilt. It won't have any issues at all. And the fact that it'll still be blooming will show you that there's no stress in it at all. So, and you can come back a couple hours later and you'll be able to tell pretty quick whether or not you stressed that plant out real bad. So now what we want to do, guys, is we want to water it in. We want to make sure that we give it water. You really want to water a plant within about 20 minutes after you plant it. So you don't want that plant to basically sit there in dry soil and dry roots. Now we have a little bit of moisture up underneath the soil because of the wood chips, which is great. But I always make a practice that within 20 minutes, usually right after I plant something, I get water on it right away, because I want to push all of the air pockets and stuff out of there. I don't want any air pockets stuck in around the roots, because it can kill your roots. And I want to make sure that I give that plant the best chance for success. So I usually right away will grab the water hose and I will go ahead and water that plant. So one thing to keep in mind though, guys, is I have got this hose. Let me show you. I've got this hose sitting out here, and it's been sitting out here in the sun, which means the first water that's going to come out of this hose is going to be scalding hot. And that will stress your plants out, guys. So whenever you first start watering, you want to make sure that you empty all of that hot water out of there. So I want to go ahead and turn this on, and I just want to blast all of that hot water out. I want all that hot water to come right out of there. I do not want to run that on a fresh, brand new plant, because that will stress that plant out big time. So we want to run all of that out until it's cold. It is now cold. So, all right guys, so I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna water this plant in really well. You can see I'm just spraying on it. Now I am getting some water on the bottom of the plant, but I am going to attempt to try not to get water on those blooms. If you get water on the blooms, sometimes those blooms will go ahead and die out. And I really don't want to do that, guys. The blooms are looking absolutely beautiful right now, and I don't want them to fall off. I don't want them to get all messed up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to water this in, and then I'm going to come back here probably in a couple hours and show you guys this plant and show you how well it's doing, whether or not it stressed it out for what we did, or hopefully, you know, if we did it correct, the plant won't be stressed out. It'll be perked up. It'll be happy here. If you did stress it out, all the leaves are going to be drooped down. It's going to look really, really sad. And that's what we do not want. So I will come back as soon as I've watered it and give it a couple hours, and I'll show you what we've done. So while we're waiting on that hibiscus plant to go ahead and soak in, and I'm going to give it a couple hours. I'm not going to walk you guys around for a couple hours, but I did want to show you real quick a couple of the cuttings of the mulberries that I grew out. And guys, this was a little cutting of a Jan's Best mulberry, and you guys can see, I mean, it is growing extremely well. So this is one season, and basically I rooted this thing this last winter, and it has gotten this much growth over one season. And this is a Jan's Best. You can see the mulberries are not real big, but it is actually trying to put on a little mulberry there. And it's not very big. They probably won't get very big until this is a little bit bigger tree, but just awesome that it actually worked. And you know, I've done hundreds of these, and but every time I do it, I'm surprised that it was successful, that you can take a little cutting and turn it into an entire tree. But over here we've got the Ozturk, or the Siam Jumbo. And this one I'm super excited about, guys. This one's supposed to be a huge berry on this tree, but it has these big, beautiful leaves on it. And if you look in here, I'll show you guys. You can see we already have some berries that are starting to turn red. And these are supposed to get huge. I mean, just massive berries. I will put a picture up here in the corner of what these berries are supposed to look like when they are full grown, but just absolutely amazing. And I'm totally looking forward to these berries off of this one. This one's probably going to be my favorite as far as the size of the berry goes, and possibly the look of the tree. But definitely a beautiful tree, and it's amazing how tall this thing has gotten. We're looking at probably about 7 foot tall right here in one season. And guys, this came from literally a 10 to 12 inch cutting this last winter. So super surprised at the growth that we've had off of this thing. Totally amazing, doing really, really well. And I will update you guys whenever we do get fruit off of this. And just to give you guys an update of our watermelons, they are out of control. So they have basically covered all of our wood piles around here. We've got them growing all the way out. It's like a little field of watermelon vine. But on top of that, guys, check this out. We have got watermelons, and when I say watermelons, I mean big watermelons. You can see they are huge growing up in here, and that is not even ripe yet. So there's one of them. I mean, there's several more, but let me get over here where I can show you some more. Underneath our sugarberry tree, you can see there's another watermelon right there. And then as I come over here, this is another grouping of vines just covering this area. All of the wood chips it's covered. Just amazing. But it's got some huge watermelons. It looks like we've got a couple varieties here. We've got one that's the smaller that came from the Crimson Sweets. I collected a few different types. They're not quite ready. They're almost there. And then we've got another one of these huge ones on here that's doing really, really well. So almost there, guys, almost there. But just vines everywhere, doing awesome. Can't wait for watermelon. So right here is one of our Chinese chestnuts that we're growing. This thing has gotten a lot of growth this season, but I was so surprised to come out here and to find a kiwi vine underneath it. And you can see the fuzziness of the vines on there. This is a golden kiwi. And I had some seeds that I planted in some pots, and I guess I had a pot that none of them came up. So I basically recycled that soil, and I must have planted this tree, this chestnut tree, in this soil. And up comes this kiwi from it. So I guess we're gonna have a kiwi vine growing next to this chestnut. Honestly, if the kiwi vine survives and does well, which I'm assuming it probably will, it looks super healthy and we're in midsummer, it will probably grow all over this Chinese chestnut tree. So we will see what happens with that. I did want to show you guys, we've got another watermelon vine over here next to our Olympic fig tree that we planted. And we've got a huge watermelon over here, and I accidentally hit it with a weed eater. Almost ready. Well, the weed eater the other day, and I was so worried that it was going to ruin it. But let me show you what it's done, guys. If you ever nick one or you ever hit one, don't worry about it. Look at this. It just healed itself up and just kept on growing. And it's about doubled in size since I hit it with that weed eater. So don't even worry about it. Oh, it's so close. It's sounding good. It's a huge watermelon. But looking forward to the watermelons, guys. All right, guys, so it has been a couple hours since we planted this hibiscus. We are now in full shade over here, but you can see that there is absolutely no droopage at all. This thing is still growing with no droopage. It's super happy. All the leaves are perky. We're still growing. We haven't slowed down a single bit, and I think we are good to go. But I will update you guys throughout the videos as we go through the rest of this season on how this hardy hibiscus is doing, and let you guys follow along on the progress. I think Tucker likes it, and I think he more likes the wet soil. It is hot out here, guys. We're up into the 90s right now, and I think I'm gonna go inside, maybe cool off, maybe have some sparkling flavored water or something. I don't know. We'll sit down and cool off and sit in the air conditioner for a little while and before I come back out and do some more work. It's just this time of year, guys, it's so hot, and the heat index is crazy because we're at like 60 plus humidity. So when you're 95 degrees, you're looking at heat index, you're up above 100 for sure. So it's definitely brutal. There's a lot of sweating happens, just non-stop sweating. And so we got to do this in spurts. I can't stay out here all day long. So anyway, glad you guys could join me today for planting the hibiscus. Guys, there's going to be a lot more stuff we're going to be planting. I just can't stop. I love doing this stuff. And but I wanted to bring you along today, maybe show you a few things around the garden, and but bring you along just to plant that hibiscus so you could see it. It is so beautiful, and I'm looking forward to the full blooms happening for the rest of the season. So anyway, thank you for joining me, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you liked this video, and even if you didn't, if you'll go ahead and click the like button on this video, I appreciate it. It helps us out. But share the videos, guys. Appreciate it if you share our videos and get the word out there to people about it, about the Markham Gardens. And if you're in Southeast Texas, guys, and you'd like to hook up, or you'd like to be part of a video, or you'd like consultations, or whatever it is, if you'd just like to hook up to talk about gardening, I would love that, guys. If you'd reach out to us and just put a message down in the bottom down there, and I will reach out to you, and hopefully we can get together. Southeast Texas, we're here in Comus, Neil, and would love to be able to get with you guys and just talk gardening. And it's nice to fellowship with like-minded people on gardening and permaculture and horticulture. So anyway, thanks guys for watching. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Shalom under the dome.